The second video in this series that I would like to make is just to go into a little bit how Pastel and FOMIS integrate. Essentially, Partner is limited to this 5-digit code. Now, the issue here is that we would have to build for full integration our project codes using the same structure. To fully utilize this, we came up with a system whereby we break the 5-digit characters code into 3 alpha levels, and then the last 2 columns are used for numbering the same type of asset. So essentially we use the first letter for a company name. For instance, in this case we've got FOMIS Harvesting, which is the F. The second column would dictate the sort of overall category. This is quite important because although in the fixed assets register we name this harvesters, it is also used and doubles as the harvesting activity. The same with short haul, loading, and long haul should be in here somewhere as well. There it is, long haul. You'll see how this pertains to the vehicle codes in a minute. The third character further breaks this down, which allows us a little bit more flexibility in terms of linking assets, distinguishing different types of assets in the same category. You know, you might have a short haul activity, but you may utilize different short haulers, or you may have one machine but with 2 assets, for instance, the harvesting heads and the excavators in harvesting. As I said, the 4th and 5th characters then dictate the numbers. So you could essentially have 99 items in the same vehicle. So you could have 99 harvesters or 99 specific short haulers or whatever machine you want, which gives you a tremendous amount of vehicles and assets codes you could use. That's the main link into Pastel. However, the system is also fully integrated into the accounting side. So if we go and look at our system parameters file, and you'll see that there are certain parameters which specifically link to partner. The first one are the account type parameters. This would be for the general usage account that you would use, where, for instance, guest vehicles, you would allocate the diesel usage through to that. And the recovery account, if you ever recover diesel, this is mostly used where you have intercompany transactions. Your motor vehicles diesel account, your plant and machinery, and then your inventory, your diesel inventory range. Okay, so that we can pick up which is the diesel inventory. That's your long haul activity. We'll get into those sort of things later. As well as then your fixed vehicle assets account. So you can see this is very, very closely tied into Pastel. These are also very, very important. These are your Pastel database name and your Pastel DNS. We utilize ODBC to connect to the underlying pervasive database of Partner, which allows us to do 2 things. One is to query the database for reporting purposes, but we also utilize the Partner SDK, which allows us to update and post information into Pastel via the Pastel SDK. Just if we had to jump back to the asset codes, what would now happen is once you set up all these parameters, you would then go into we have 2 choices. We can either build the code in Pastel itself, or we could build the code in a fixed assets register. If we had to add a new fixed assets item here, for instance, and we had to say it was plant and machinery. This little project code builder picks up, but as I said, we can either select a existing project code, okay, or we can create a new one. Now, what actually happens, you can see how this ties into the other tables I've been showing you. Let's say we create a test harvester. Okay. We would then select for which company it is. It would be for FOMIS. The main category would be harvesters, and then the subcategory would be the excavator, be the main machine. And then it numbers your project codes. As you can see, we've already got 5 of these machines, so it adds a sixth one. You would then update that, and that would automatically update into Pastel, and you would fill in the rest of this information. Okay, which I'm not going to do right now. Right. The other thing which, I know I'm jumping around a little bit, but the other item which ties in very closely with the project codes, of course, on your system parameters, as I mentioned, we utilize this harvesting activity code. Okay, this is now more the overall activity code for the 4 modules, and that is also closely linked into the cost code structure. So you wouldn't use something like Z here. You would use the harvesting code, which you used under the fixed asset. If you remember correctly, for harvesters was H. Okay, short order was S, log or A, etc. So this would be tied in to those parameters. But again, the system is fully parameter driven, so these things aren't fixed in stone, and when you set up your own company, you could use other letters than the ones I've chosen. Right, I think that brings us to the end of the second little lecture, which shows the integration of Pastel and FOMIS. As we go through these videos, you'll see how this integration is utilized in the diesel module, the reporting modules, etc.